Happy Friday, everyone, and hello. Well, this is the finale, basically, of Global Entrepreneurship Week for us. If you've been following us on Instagram, so far this week we've been having amazing conversations with women in our community, talking about their business, talking about why they started, talking about so many awesome things. And today it's going to be the final day, the final day. And I have an amazing woman who's going to be joining me shortly, one of the members of our online community, Janice. And so I'm excited about that. So again, welcome. My name is Stella Ehenacho, and I'm the founder of Women Doing It Afraid. And I love to always say that our mission, what we are all about, is literally in our name. Woman, doing it afraid. We truly absolutely believe, just like your name says, progress over perfection, right? We absolutely believe that you don't have to wait for perfection to start. You don't have to wait for everything to be in alignment, because your definition of alignment could be way off. You don't have to wait to have the full picture. Just paint one step at a time. And so this week, we're all about celebrating Global Entrepreneurship Week. And I'm going to be sending this video to my guest speaker, who's probably yet to join me, so that she can come up on here and be a part of today's conversation. So let me give you a quick overview of how the week went, right? So on Monday, I did like an introduction, and I told everybody about what Global Entrepreneurship Week meant, what it means to us as women doing it afraid. And I'm going to go over this again. And then we had on Wednesday, actually, we had an amazing member, Sydney join us. Thursday, we had Lee. And now we have Janice. All right. And I'm excited about that, because today she's going to be talking about something that is so dear to me. Mother. Hello, beautiful.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing great. Good to see you.
Seriously, I know we usually see like on the streets of Instagram. So it's good to see
Yes.
your face. Well, thank you for spending your Friday afternoon with me. Before you joined, I was just telling people that we're going to talk about something that is so dear to me. I mean, motherhood and boundary and balance. And what I'm like, girl, you're speaking my language. All right. So before I get too excited, I'm just going to do a quick recap on why we have you here today, right? So for everyone that just joining, my name is Stella Ehenacho, and I'm the founder of Women Doing It Afraid, and we're literally a community that is dedicated to getting women overcoming their fear by just literally doing it. Our mission is in our name. It's as simple as that. I don't have any long scripts to read to you. Literally what we're about is helping women overcome their fear in their business, in their career, in their personal lives, right? And every year we have the Global Entrepreneurship Week. And this week we're celebrating that. And they had 4 themes, and we chose 2. Our focus for this week is about inclusion and education. And typically we would have, on-site events and all that great stuff. But this year we're doing a little bit different. We're having amazing women as Janice join us to come and share about her business, why, and what does education mean to her? What does inclusion mean to you, right? And tell us more about what you do, who you are. So that's really the overview of why we're having this call today. And I have your bio, Janice, but I'm not going to read it, because I don't want to, I want you to still take your thunder, blow yourself up, because she's well deserved. So please, Janice, introduce yourself to us.
All right, so I'm Janice Waddell, and my business is Janice Inspires, and I help to empower ambitious mamas who are ready to reclaim their identity again, take back that power, feel amazing and confident in their body, not only so we can feel our best and be our healthiest self, but because that makes us show up differently, right? When we show up as our best self, our relationships get deeper. We have a closer connection with our husband, with our children. We're not as impatient. We have more calm and, patience to handle all the chaos of being a mom, and we can actually go after our dreams and our goals while being an amazing mom, while still being an amazing wife. So it is possible to have that all.
Absolutely. Thank you for sharing that. And you also have like 25 years of knowledge and experience. If you see me looking this way, I have your notes here. That's why I'm looking here, right? You have 25 years, which you did not mention.
Yes, so I do. I started as a CNA fresh out of high school. I got my certification while I was going through high school, went straight into the hospital,
Wow.
always wanted to have my own business. But, once you get into the corporate world, it's like, oh, well, I can move up. I can move. And then
Mm.
24 years with the same company, COVID hit,
Wow.
boom, we're all laid off. And then I was like, oh, what do I do
Wow.
now? Who am I? Like, I don't even know. I had just had my second a few months. I had maybe been back a month and a half before everything blew up from maternity leave. And about 2 days later, I was like, you know what? This was God. He like shoved me off that cliff. And he's like, I have been telling you for years. So I was
Mm.
like, I have all the skills. I got the knowledge. I have always been told that I help others, that I inspire them. And I was like, I'm doing it. I'm just going to start. And I went ahead and got a certification for health and life coaching. It's not required, but I was like, why not? Like, I want to learn. I'm like super geek. Like, I love learning. I love, experiment, research. Like, so like, and this will be a great way to get into that community.
Right.
So,
That's fantastic. Your story sounds similar to who I spoke to yesterday about how people have always told you that this is who you are. You're very good at this, but we never act on that until the life-changing moment happened. And for you,
yes.
it was a life-changing moment. Being, let go after 24 years, right?
Mhm.
Where does all of that stem from? Why?
But
What?
what, I mean, I have to say, like, since I was little, I have always wanted to help others. I had siblings growing up, cousins, that grew up with us. And I'd always make like my own doctor's kit and stuff with and like always ready to take care of someone, anticipate needs. Like, it's just something that I've always been passionate about. And that's why I first started working in the hospital, because I was like, I know if my loved ones were in the hospital, I would want them to be
Mm.
taken care of absolutely the best. So they always knew which hallway I was on, because they're like, it smells the cleanest. I would like gather up my patients in the community room and be playing games with them, like
Um,
just trying to inspire them. So I worked on different floors in the hospital, but it was a great experience. And then after that, I got into physical therapy. I worked as a rehab tech as I went through college, got my bachelor's degree. And then I went into working for the wellness center, and I started off as an exercise specialist and a personal trainer, and I worked my way up into a management position where I designed all the programming for all 4 of our facilities.
well, Janice, you're busy. You're busy in such an amazing way. I mean, working,
Yes.
schooling, and all of that. I can feel your heart from here. And by the way, I love the color of your hair. I just saw that. It's very
Thank
beautiful.
you.
All right.
Oh,
So
fall
the
colors.
focal, yep, matches the weather for sure. So I see a line here in your bio that says her mission is to make a ripple effect, so as many mamas as possible can reignite their sense of self in motherhood. Let's talk about how a lot of mothers are losing or have lost their sense of self.
Yes. You get so much care from your doctors while you're pregnant. They're making sure you're following everything, the nutrition, working out, all the things, right? I mean, they're constantly checking your blood work, and then you have your beautiful little miracle, and then it's okay, let's check in 6 to 8 weeks, depending on, the birth you had, and then, okay, we'll see you next year. And it's like,
Bye. Yep.
what do I do now? And so we don't get told about the mood swings, the sadness, how hard it can be to, get your body back. And it's not that we actually get it back, because your body actually changes in pregnancy. And each time you have a pregnancy, it has more changes. And so internally, our body, like, they say you bounce back in 6 weeks, right? But that's just your uterus. That's not everything else that happened in your body. So it actually can take up to 6 years, research is showing.
So,
And a lot of it, so the hair loss, the mood swings, the constant fatigue, the GI distresses, not being able to absorb your vitamins, like a lot of this is coming from your gut. So I've been doing a ton of research on that and looking at a more holistic approach on how to start, like as soon as you have the baby, to start this program so that you can heal your gut. And so when you are eating the healthy foods, you can actually absorb them, they get utilized, and then your hormones can do the job that they need to do. Because when we heal our gut, our hormones are doing their thing, but they can't optimally do it because they're not getting that nutrients, and that's not talked about. It's rarely ever talked about. They're more like, here's a prescription, we'll see you, in a couple months. Or so I want to help change that, the way motherhood is, because just because these symptoms are common, they should not be normalized.
And this is the first time I'm hearing about that, honestly. So your message is super important. And did you say you're working on this?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
So
I need it.
I follow and I'm working on it's a postpartum nutrition plan. Miranda Bauer, she is the founder of Postpartum University. The amount of research and everything that she's done and the thousands of women's lives that she has changed, like, I'm fully on board with that, and I want to be able to add to that ripple effect that's coming through motherhood.
That's beautiful.
We should feel our best. We've got this beautiful miracle. Like, we don't want to be run down.
I absolutely agree, right? And like you say, when after you give birth to your miracle, they send you back home, right? And you have to figure out, well, what do I do with my life now, and how do I balance all of those things, right? And then of course, COVID, and there's no longer work-life balance. It's now work-life integration, where the lines are all mixed up together. What would you say? Because I hear you talk about, the rabbit hole of motherhood. I think I read that as well on your bio about the rabbit hole of motherhood. What is that?
So basically, like, bounce back culture and, diet culture on top of it, and the super mom, it's like you have all this outside noise telling you, well, if you did this program or if you did that, and, moms are doing it, and then they're like, well, why didn't it work for me? Now I'm a failure. And there's just so much outside noise, and it's not getting to the root of the problem, like what's really going on. Like, yes, we can follow, Beachbody or keto, or we can follow that for a while, right? But then what happens when you stop?
Right.
The weight starts coming on,
It's gonna come
your
back,
energy takes a dip, you start feeling like crap again, and then you feel like there's something wrong with you, but there's not anything wrong with you. It's just we need to figure out what our body needs, because we're all different. So, there's different foods, we have different tastes, our cultures are different. So, like, finding what works best for you in the long haul, and just getting that cultivated information that specifically, goes to you. No cookie cutter BS.
You know what? You're definitely setting a lot of women and moms free by your messaging, because you're right. Like there's this like outpouring, conversation about, like you said, the bounce back and the hustle and the super mom, and trying to do so much all at the same time. I mean, you just give it to a kid, and then you expect your house to be speaking, your house to be clean because you have this just coming in. Like, all of that stress, it's so much.
Yes. And stress totally demolishes our health.
It does. It does.
Totally.
And you just talked about, the different cultures and the different taste buds and all of that. I think it comes back to the individuality of that mom to say, well, what works best for me, and what season am I in, and what phase am I in, and and who am I trying to impress? These are questions I think we have to ask ourselves, right? All right, let's talk about taking back our body, taking back control of our body. Because again, I read your bio and I was like, this is fantastic. I have more questions. Taking back control of our body. At what point in time did we lose control of our body?
I think when we let that outside noise determine what we do, instead of trying to figure out and listen to our body. Like, I can tell you, for years I was at war with my body. Like, my body and my head, they weren't connected. Head full of a lot of negative talk. And the thing is, our brain's job is to make our beliefs true, right? True. So when we have those negative thoughts, our body's going to follow suit.
That's right.
So being able to take back control is when you basically say, I'm done with the outside noise. Because we're the only one who knows what's best for our body. We're the only one who can feel what it feels like from the inside, the energy that we feel, waking up refreshed. And it brings back that confidence.
You just said something about me that triggered me. So yesterday, I think at work, someone was asking me a question about, when was the last time that I ate something that made me say, so good? I couldn't remember. I know. So I'm like, that is not a good thing, because it means, like, where are the moments of experiences that I'm feeling instead of just going through the same routine? Like, when is the last time you came up like, wow, because what you said that triggered me was waking up refreshed. If I ask a group of women now, or a group of moms, like,
When was the last time you woke up, you were like, you felt so refreshed? I have a feeling that we're not going to have a lot of hands raised up. If I
No.
ask a group of moms, when's the last time you ate something that and made you feel like, wow, this is so good? We're not going to have a lot of hands raised up because we're not in control of our bodies. We're not in control of our time. And we're just going through the motions. And then, as we know, the time keeps piling up. And then we look back and we're like, whoa, what did I do with all of these years?
Yes, yes. You know, when I was in the corporate world, I worked with a lot of empty nesters. And so, you know, their kids were like high school or moved out, and, you know, they're like, well, I gained 40 pounds when I was pregnant. I never lost it. And now my kids are grown up and moved out, and I don't know who I am. I don't know what to do. I have all this time because I'm not going to sporting events or, you know, all these things. And then it's like, it hits you so hard. So if I can help in the beginning, you know, spark that, you know, that inner power.
Right.
Find yourself again. Reclaim your new identity, because we can't go back. We can't go back, but we can take pieces from that and we can level up.
Yeah. I was about to ask you that question, and you just answered that as well, about what advice would you give to that woman who she hasn't lost herself? You're like, because we don't want her to get to that empty nester that looks
Yes.
like, I'm like, yo, what happened? What did I do with my time? So just imagine, like, we're in that phase. Like, what are the things we can start doing now practically to reclaim who we are?
You know, I'll tell you, the first year is hard. First year's really hard. So it might not happen then. There are small things that you can do, but, you know, when they start to get more on a little bit more of a routine, or maybe they're going to daycare, maybe you can even get a nanny or someone to come over and help, where you can start taking time. But I tell my moms, like, some of them, they're like, there is no time. There is no time. Well,
Yeah,
we're going to put
no
5 minutes a day.
nanny.
5 minutes a day. And we will add on to that, because small hinges swing big doors.
Sure.
So those small baby steps will get you where you want to go. But as moms, sometimes we got to go a little bit slower, and that's okay, because we're all on our own journey. So you'll get there at the right time. But you got to do things that really bring you that joy, not just happiness, like that inner joy and fulfillment.
You know, thank you for saying small hinges definitely swing big doors. And as you're speaking, I'm asking myself, like, what else can I do? What is my 5 minutes? You know, I'm not really journaling. Like, I'm not, what's the word now? I'm not disciplined when it comes to journaling, but I've realized that whenever I do that, it actually helps me take a moment to be grateful for the day and figure out exactly how my day went. And I think practical things like that could also help maybe other moms, where your day just starts and ends and you don't even know what just happened. We're taking a moment to be like, all right, so what is one thing today that I'm grateful for? What is one thing today that I did for myself?
Yes.
I'm making an account for it, because it's so easy to forget.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
If you ask me what happened 3 days ago, I might not be able to tell you.
Exactly. Or we're like, hey, what happened last week? They're like, you know? So write it down, or at least say it out loud. Just put it out there. But I do love journaling, because it's also great to go back.
True.
And read and be like, oh my gosh, like, I was feeling this and I've come so far. But a lot of times we don't actually see our progress. So we stay in that negative mindset because we forget. So it's a way, you know, even if it's not writing down, maybe it's a little voice recorder or an app on your phone, you know, whatever works for you. It doesn't have to be like everybody else. You get to design what works best for you. You know, put a piece of paper on the side of the fridge, you know, mark something real quick while you're making dinner, like whatever works.
You're right. And I'm still going to talk about this again, because I mean, I haven't seen any other solution. And the reason why I said is for someone who, maybe other moms or women who are busy and have so many things going on, if you don't take the time to look back at your day and say, okay, so today, what did I do for myself? Or even if you don't take the time, even at the beginning of the day, to be intentional about what do I want to happen for this day, the day piles up and it becomes one big blur. And so I think being intentional about, so that down the line, I can look back through my journal, for example, or I can listen to a voice note and be like, well, I did have fun when I was younger. Well, that is good. So you can remember, right? So that is an action item. That is an action item for me. I mean, I have a journal, of course, and we can even record voice notes. And I think there's some apps where you can record voice notes and it translates into text for you. So if you don't have time, you can do that.
Yes, absolutely.
Right. Fantastic. Okay, let's talk about eating for our body, eating for our unique body. Let's talk about that, because I saw that as well.
Yes, so, you know, all of our bodies are different. We're in different seasons, we're different ages, our hormones are doing different things. Stress is a huge factor. How we sleep is a huge factor. Like, there's a lot to play with that. So what I do is, like, I love it. Like, clients will come to me and they're like, I know you're going to take my soda and my coffee. And I'm just like, ooh, slow down. No, I don't take any of that away in the beginning. Like, first, I need to understand how you eat, when you eat, what you eat, how much. Were you actually hungry? Was it an emotional hunger? Like, there's a lot that goes into that. And over time, we slowly start making upgrades to what we do. So I'll have clients who will be like, I'm going to make this recipe and I'm going to take out the flour, the eggs, and and replace it with all the healthy stuff, right? But when you usually do it that fast, it usually tastes like crud to you because your taste buds and your brain are like, whoa, what did you just do? So, starting small, maybe we pick breakfast as our center focus, or maybe it's their dinner, and okay, well, what are we serving? Are we getting the best quality meat? Which veggies and fruits are really important to get organic? Start counting chemicals over the calories. And as we clear that out of their system, they can actually start listening to their body now, because it's not all crudded down with all the toxins and chemicals. And then I do like an energy experiment. So we check their energy and mood about 2 hours after each meal, and they journal about it for me. We check for GI distresses, because if you have any type of reaction within that 2 hours, something you ate triggered that. So do we see a pattern? I had one mom, and she was like, Janet, I switched all my rice to cauliflower rice. And she's like, I feel so sick afterwards, and my stomach's all bloated. And that's super high in fiber. Yes, it has a ton of wonderful health benefits, but if now everything's cauliflower, your tummy might not be ready for that much. So we made a couple changes. She was also eating it with beef, which is an inflammatory, so we switched that out for chicken. She stopped having issues.
That's great.
So it's just making these tiny little shifts in what they do and not forcing them to eat things that they don't enjoy, because you're not going to stick to that.
You wouldn't, right? So that's why we have the New Year resolution in January, and by like February, it's all down the drain, because it's a lifestyle, right? It's a lifestyle change.
Yes. And you still get to have treats. Like, if you want to, shoot, if I go to Paris, one day I'm going to make it there. I'm going to freaking enjoy it. Like, I'm going to have some of that yumminess that they got going on over there. Like, enjoy it without the guilt.
That's true.
Enjoy without the guilt. Make those decisions.
Yes. And be honest with yourself, right?
Yes. A lot of times we eat behind our back. It's like we do it so fast and like, nobody knows nobody saw it, and you didn't even taste it. You don't even know what it tastes. You already swallowed it. It's gone. Maybe you bit it 1 or 2 times and it was gone. Like, there's no point in that. Like, slow down, savor it, smell it, look at it, like, enjoy it. If you're gonna do it,
Thank you for sharing that. All right, let's talk about upgrading our daily routine and our self-care as moms. Let's imagine our avatar is this mom who, of course, I don't know one mom doesn't have a lot on her plate, but a mom who has a lot on her plate, she has a 9 to 5, she has a business, she has kids, and time is not of essence for her. I know you talked about earlier about like looking for 5 minutes time slot to maybe do something. Like, what are the little things that you think a mom can do to upgrade her life or her self-care?
Kind of depends on them, but like, you mean like what would they do in that 5 minutes?
Yes, or any time they have.
So I do teach some breathing techniques, because that's a quick way to lower your stress response. Some moms find it beneficial to listen to music, even their favorite music. It doesn't have to be calming. You can meditate. I can't do it. I've tried it. It doesn't work for me. Like, you'll be just walking outside. Sometimes it's literally hiding in your closet or the cart and going and crying, because that's what your body needs. So kind of asking yourself that day, like, what do I need? And give it. Like, you want to read a favorite book, get in a chapter, or just literally sit in complete silence. Overstimulation is real.
It is.
The noise, the touching, the kneading, like, they don't prepare you for all of that.
Sitting in complete silence, it's a unicorn nowadays. It's hard.
Yes, yes. So, you know, I like stretching. Even one of the exercises I tell my clients to do, like before bed. Have you ever heard of just doing your legs up on the wall or your
Yeah.
headboard, where you kind of lay down so your feet are up above you, like a 90-degree angle, and you just lay there.
Mm.
It brings your legs, it slows your heart down. It just feels so good. I'm telling you, like I sleep so good whenever I do that.
I probably will have to try that. I've never done that before. I think
Yeah, I mean, you
it
can
helps
read
with
while you're
blood
doing.
flow. Okay,
Yes,
okay,
yeah, it
okay.
slows your heart down, brings your breathing down, and just helps get rid of that stress that's in your body. So,
Mm.
because as moms, we can't control the quantity, but we can help do things for the quality of the sleep that we
That's
get.
true. That's absolutely true. Yeah, I know, and I hear you say stress a lot, you know, but I think a lot of people don't associate the fact that they're overwhelmed out of stress. They kind of like think it's something else, but we do associate it with stress. And I think stress is a major factor why sometimes people are afraid, people are overwhelmed, and they forget what happens during the day. And I think identifying what triggers the stress is probably 50%, you know, the solution to having a better quality of life. But for me, you know, if I talk about the things that I do to kind of like improve the quality of my day, for me, exercise is super important to me, because that's my me time, right? Eating some of my favorite food in peace and quiet and silence is mine. Sometimes taking walks, you know, reading books and all of that great stuff, you know. But definitely looking for time slots in between our day to do something for us.
Yes,
And it's not
yes.
selfish. It is not selfish to
No,
do something for
no, it's
yourself.
so cool. When we
It
take
really
care of
is.
ourselves, we're taking better care of our family.
That's true. That's true. I believe it's not selfish. So, all right, Janice, tell us more about your programs, your coaching, your courses, all of that. You know, how do you serve the women that are your customers?
So I do see some that are pregnant. I don't have a lot, but just getting them more on a healthy lifestyle so it's easy for them to transition into postpartum. You know,
Okay.
it'll help with their milk supply and everything. Mostly what I do is I'm getting moms that they're wanting to lose the weight, they're wanting their energy back. And that's usually a big focus. So for them, I usually do my 30-day program where I help them to kind of get out those toxins that are in their body and teach them how to master to eat what
Better.
they need. So that way they can continue it. And then sometimes they'll jump into my 90 days. Some people go straight into my 90 days. But that's where we're not only doing the nutrient part, because that is huge. If that's not in place, everything else is not going to stay in place. You're not going to be able to maintain
Okay.
what you're building, but it's also working on their personal goals. So what else is it finding more time for themselves? Is it learning how to prioritize their schedule so that they have more free time to actually enjoy life, not take on more
Mm.
responsibilities? It's getting a connection and learning how to talk better with your spouse, because a lot of times I hear, well, he should just know how overwhelmed I am, or, we get that resentment, and I've been there. I've been that mom, just like you're running around, you're doing all the things, but they don't know what's going on, and they
No
see us do it,
mind.
so they're like, you know what? Or if they do try to help us, if we nitpick them,
Yeah,
then
then
they're
they know
like,
they're coming
oh,
back.
I'm
Yeah.
gonna stay away from her. So like, how can we open up that communication and have more of an appreciative communication and get that support? Because you gotta be a team. You gotta be a
Mm.
team. And
That's
then finding those things that, again, bring back your identity. What are the things that you enjoy, and how can we fit that into your schedule without you feeling like it's taking you away from your family? How can you see the benefit of that?
okay. That's fantastic. And now listen to my next question about mom guilt. Talk about, finding your identity and finding things that you like. So it's not taking
Mhm.
you away from it. I'm sure you've experienced a lot of mom who feel so guilty just doing something for themselves,
Yes.
right?
So it almost always starts out that way. And I felt it. I felt it all the time. Like I wouldn't even ask my husband, like, to do anything pretty much by myself, because I was like, gotta take care of the kids. I got the house, we got the
Mm.
dog. Like I was working, like all the things. But as you start taking that time, when you come back, you feel better, right? So you're not coming back and you're snapping at your kids, or, getting annoyed with having to clean things up. Like you just start showing up better, and then you're getting a deeper relationship with them. And then you're like, oh, wait a minute, this is actually beneficial. I mean,
True.
I can't tell you how many moms I've had where they're like, I'm so much closer to my husband now because, one, we're working on that communication piece. But when you feel better, you're not going to be as snippy with them either, or have that resentment, because you're going to have, a better routine in place and being able to talk to each other and divide things up more evenly, because they're a parent too. They're not a babysitter.
That's
You're a
true.
team. You're a team. So, you know, it's huge when, you know, you see them make that connection again with their spouse and see them going out on date nights and making time for that too. Because unfortunately, I mean, it's sad to think, but one day our kids will be grown up. And then what? And then what? Your husband's there, so you don't want to wait all that time and then try to fix the connection.
And that would be that might be a bit too late for some people, right? Because I know
It is for a lot.
Yeah, and mom usually graduates to resentment, right?
Mm-hmm.
You resent everybody around you because you feel like, well, I didn't live my life because I was taking care of the kids, and then that relationship now becomes a toxic one, you know. And I think for me, from my culture, that's why I guess a lot of parents always depend on their kids as their retirement. Like, oh well, I put my life on hold to take care of you. So now that I'm old, you have to take care of me, forgetting that those kids are going to grow up and have their own lives as well. And sometimes it's not the same, right? And so I'm absolutely an advocate for parents, mom or dad or whosoever, to not put your life on hold, because I mean, I truly believe you can raise kids and still have your own life. Maybe not to the extent that you want to have it, maybe not to the flexibility, but that's why we have to be very cautious of times and seasons, right? When your child is 1 year old, what you can do when your child is a baby is not the same thing you can do when your child is a teenager.
Exactly. Or when they even get to school age, you know, like taking those opportunities. Like, I don't know, maybe a month or so ago, my husband switched to 4 10-hour days. So he has Wednesday off, and now both kids are school age. So I'm like, well, we might not be able to go out at night because we live in a new place, so we really don't, you know, have someone we feel safe with leaving our kids. So now we can have a date during the day. Like, it can look differently. It's okay. You get to design it.
Yes,
what works best for you?
Thank you for saying that you get to design it, right? And just speaking this to anybody who's watching this now or after is, if there's a struggle with how the life looks like now, the question is, well, who designed it? Because you're in control of the design. You can make changes if you want to make changes. So why does it have to be a certain way? Why can't there be flexibility? Like, who are we trying to copy, or what idea do we have in our mind? I think that's a struggle a lot of people have, like, oh, my kids have to do this or have to do that. Well, do you really have to, or is that something you've told yourself over and over again? You know, I think that's an important question to share. All right, so as I come towards the end of the life, I do have one question around boundaries. You know, have you seen moms struggle with putting boundaries? So they say, okay, I'm going to spend this time for myself, and then they break that boundary by themselves. You're saying yes. Tell me more about that.
Yes. I found it very hard in the beginning too, especially because I feel like we are like givers by nature. It's hard for us. We're always giving. And sometimes it can actually feel hard to receive. Like, it's kind of awkward. We have to kind of learn that. It's like a muscle that we have to work on over time. Yeah. So again, you know, we never start with anything big when we're doing healthy boundaries. You know, it's like, what's something that's going to be that needle mover? What do we need to work on? What do we need to put? And how are we going to make that inevitable, where you're going to stick to this one? And we're going to focus on that until it feels more natural. And I love when they start going, no. I'm like, hell yeah, you say no. You say no. It is a complete sentence.
Yeah.
Family members driving you nuts or what? Like, no. Like, that's all you got to say. Because, you know, we have, again, that outside noise trying to come in. How should we raise our kids? You shouldn't do this. Well, we did this with you. Well, you know what? It does not matter. These are my kids. It's my turn. I get to say no. So, again, that comes with taking back that power. Right?
Taking back the power, yes.
Yeah, taking back your power. And design your own life. Yeah.
And design. I think that's to me, that's the word I'm going to go away with. I'm literally making a note here. Design your own life, right? It doesn't have to be set in stone a certain way. You have that power to be flexible around it. All right. So, Janice, imagine you have a woman, a mom rather, who wants to have a better connection with herself. And she has young kids, right? And she's trying to figure out, well, who am I and what is my identity right now? And I just feel overwhelmed, right? And imagine she's listening to us right now on this live. What would you say to her?
That you are worthy. Like, anything you want, whatever you desire, like, you deserve it. And go after, like, when something is on your heart, in your gut, like, there's a reason, because you have like this greater calling. And know that sometimes, like you said, in childhood, especially the beginning phases, we might not be able to do exactly what we want to do, but there are small steps that you could make towards it. We don't have to wait till they turn 5 and get to school. Like, try to look at smaller steps, to reclaiming yourself again. Work on affirmations. If there is a negative thought that is continuously coming up in your mind, what do you want it to be instead? And I have my clients practice that in the mirror. You got to stare yourself in the eyes. It's a very scary thing to do. It's very emotional. And tell themselves that they love themselves, that they are worthy, and whatever affirmation that they really need most. And we do that every single day until we start to believe it.
Wow, that's important. You said it's scary to look at yourself in the mirror and say, "I love myself," right? And it's so easy for moms. Moms can say to their kids all day, every day. But when it's time for us to say to ourselves, though, do we cringe? Like, oops, oh, do I really? Wow. Okay. Well, I want to know if anybody has questions. But if Janice, if someone wants to contact you or reach out to you, know more about your program, where is the best place that they can do so?
So either here on Instagram, they can click my link. It will take them to my little website, or I am on Facebook too at Janice Inspires. So same business name. I have a mom group on there as well. Right. It's called Spark Your Momness. So again,
say that again. What's the?
Oh, it's Spark Your Momness.
Spark Your Momness. Okay.
Finding your best self as a mom, as a season that we're in.
Okay. And if you don't mind me asking, can you share like one of those success stories? I know you shared a couple so far on this life, right? Of moms who come to you overwhelmed or underwhelmed, and now they're like full blazing, sparking their momness, like 100%.
Yes. So I actually shared it on my business page. I think it might have been this week or last week, but one of the first moms that came to me when I started on my own, she was just like, I got to lose 40 pounds. I have no energy. I got no time, And actually, when I started asking her more questions, she had actually had a heart attack in her 40s.
Wow.
In her 40s. And so it was more important than ever to get to her healthiest self. And she was trying to do it on her own after having a heart attack. Again, doctors weren't there really supporting her. And she was almost starving herself. Like, she was just having dinner at night. She had always planned to travel with her husband when they retired. So she went through the program, and I heard from her about a little over a year later, because during the time with me, she had lost 20 pounds. She was eating more. She was eating foods that gave her energy. Her confidence came back, and it was like the 3rd week she was down 8 pounds. And I could just hear it in her voice, like she had that spark. And she was like, I can't believe how good I feel. She's like, I thought I had to lose 40 pounds to feel this good.
Wow.
And that's the thing. It's not really about the weight. It's the other thing. She has a grandbaby now, and her husband are traveling during the year and not just going to wait until retirement. So hearing from her and how well she's doing after the program really feels good.
That is a phenomenal story. And I know I said I was coming to the end, but sorry, you just keep dropping bombs on here. You talk about it's not about the weight, though. It's about the other things, right?
Yes.
We always think, well, if I have more time, or well, if I lose the weight, or well, if I do this, what if I do that? But that is just the surface, right? Let's talk about the things that we cannot see. Let's talk about the things that we cannot see.
Yes, right? Yes. So, a lot of us are on medications afterwards. We got heartburn, our hair is coming out in clumps, we're having massive headaches, all sorts of tummy issues and stuff. And all this stuff starts to go away when we start to heal from the inside out. And when you get that, you're not going to take medication. You're going to feel better. That energy's back. You sleep better. You start getting your confidence back. You start feeling good in your clothes again, right? You're no longer canceling plans with family and friends because you don't feel comfortable going out, right? You start living your life again. Because a lot of moms, I will tell you, have told me, I make plans and then cancel them. Because I don't know what to wear. I don't feel good in my clothes, So it comes back to that as well. But there's so many other things that, that weight loss actually affects in their life. They can keep up with their kids. You know, they can run after them at the park and, you know, play with them and have the energy. And again, you know, like, you know, when we snap at our kid, we don't want to snap at our kids, but we're human. We make mistakes. That happens much less when we feel our best.
True.
It's usually because we're so overwhelmed, we're not getting the support we need, we're not sharing about it, because a lot of times that's viewed as a weakness, and we're afraid that we're going to get judged for having these thoughts and feelings. And so, you know, again, working on those pieces little by little, and, you know, it's one big puzzle. You got to get all these pieces together for the big outlook.
Wow. Thank you so much, Janice, for sharing with us
welcome.
today. I truly appreciate it. I have my own takeaway assignment that I need to do for sure. And I'm sure anybody's been watching this after will do have their own takeaway assignment. And for anyone watching this maybe in replay, like, I mean, Janice talked about ensuring that you find pockets of time to be present for yourself, to pour into yourself, right? Not just about the weight loss and all of that great stuff, but really looking internally and being honest with yourself, like, where am I at right now? Understanding your time in the season, you know, and you can design your own life. You can design your life, you know, to suit where you're at. And don't always try to do, I guess, don't always try to do everything all at once. Just take it one step at a time. And if you're snapping at your kids, which I don't know what mom hasn't snapped at their kids, but if you're snapping at your kids so much, maybe it's because your bucket is not full. And so maybe taking some time for yourself to fill
Your bucket doesn't even have drops of water in it. Like, it's like just residue.
It's dry.
Yeah, you gotta fill it up.
Absolutely, you gotta fill it up, and it's not selfish to take care of yourself. It's actually selfless to take care of yourself. You're being considerate of other people when you take care of yourself, because when you do that, you're a better human. You're a better mom. You're a better wife. You're a better friend. You're a better sister.
You know, we teach our kids to do it, right? We teach them about self-care and that they're important and they're strong and they're brave and they can do anything that they want. We can't just speak the words. We got to show them through our actions. Through our actions. They watch that more than anything else.
Yes, they do. Well, and I definitely have to create a moment where somebody asks me next time, when was the last time you ate something? I maybe say, that I can actually have an answer to that. So I'm taking that on as my other assignment.
Yeah, definitely.
Right. Thank you so much.
Oh, you're welcome.
Your time.
Such a pleasure.
And the pleasure is all mine. I'm glad that we can make this happen. And this is the perfect way for us to even end the whole week, you know, motherhood and wellness. And I really hope that people, as they're going to the weekend, that have been intentional about how they take care of themselves, even as moms and as women as well. And thank you for sharing with us how we could also connect with you. And I'm hoping that people also reach out to you to know more about your programs, because it is absolutely needed.
Yes, and I do offer free strategy sessions. So I never expect anyone to just jump in and buy without meeting me, get me, you know, sharing what's going on with them and making sure that I am the right fit for them.
Absolutely. And I'm going to put all of this in the caption as well, so people know this as well, okay? Well, enjoy your Friday afternoon.
You
and
too.
have a fantastic weekend ahead, all
you
right?
too. All right, bye.
Bye, then.